So welcome everyone to this video. We're really excited to welcome Ritu here today and get to know her story into coaching, into mentoring and where she's now. So to start off with, I'd love to hear from you first, Ritu, if you can introduce yourself. Who are you and what is it that you do?
Okay, so I'm Rituparna Ghosh, but that's a little complicated even for Indians. So I'm Ritu in short. That's how everybody knows me, specifically at Animas. I am in short a transformational life coach. If you want to expand on that, I work with people. I work mainly with expats, and I work with expats who've moved countries. So prima facie, they think everything is fine. It's a new country, very excited. They set up their lives here, but there's that one sense of, lack of something. There's that dissociation that they feel from their present. And there's a voice in their head which keeps going on saying, you've moved countries, you should be grateful, you should be happy. And then they feel that they are sort of riding continents, one here, not necessarily continents, even riding cities, even, right? Something is unfamiliar yet familiar. So I work with them to help them at least acknowledge that unrest, because most of the time people say that, it's your choice, you choose to move away, or, you're getting something better. But there's that lack of gratitude that they're blamed as. So I sort of help them acknowledge that unrest. I help them connect with themselves and understand, what is it that's holding them back? What is it that's causing that unrest? And you know how coaching works, right? It's transformational. So instead of just sort of going from one thing to another, we really, really focus on transforming the core beliefs, transforming the values, and hopefully they get more in touch with what matters to them truly, rather than the shoulds that they're carrying with themselves.
Mm-hmm. No, please go on.
Apart from that, I also work as associate associate coach with different companies. So that was me in my private practice, which is laughter conversations and coaching. Uh, in my associate space, I am more of a mental health coach. When I say mental health coach, I work specifically with people who are, again, it's actually about transformation, right? The way you're thinking, the way you feel that underconfidence or feel that anxiety to step out, to do something, to take the leap. So I work with them and again, help them, get over their anxiety or confidence or lack of that, and do what is it that they want to do rather than what they feel that society expects them to do. So I work with Unmind and Lira as a mental health coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's me.
Amazing. Well, I'm really looking forward to going into that actually, because the associate coaching space, a lot of prospective coaches and students are so interested in terms of the process of that. I'd love to dive deeper into it later on, and working with expats and finding that niche. I can't wait to hear that story. But yeah, would you share how you first got into coaching first, Ritu? Yeah.
I think
When
it's
was
to
it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's to do with the expat thing only, because I'm from India. I've been born, brought up, worked there for forever. And when I had my son in 2015, that's when I took a pause from my career. I used to work in Amazon, and I was in the senior leadership there. So I took a pause there, had my son. It was a very frantic time because he was struggling a little bit. And so I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to take a pause completely from work. Let's focus on family. And that's when my husband got an opportunity to move here in the UK. And I was very excited because, I've read so much about UK. I'm an avid reader, fiction mainly. So I read the likes of Enid Blytons and Agatha Christie's and Jane Austen's, and UK was the country, and I was very excited. So we moved when my son was 14 months, and it was very, very suddenly I realized that I moved from a very fulfilled circumstance where my parents were close by, my sisters were close by, I had a friend circle, to a place where, yes, there was a lot to look forward to, but I felt very lonely. And then I was a young mother, a new mom, and my partner used to travel a lot. So it was very tough time and very unusual. Like I didn't expect that. Very unexpectedly tough time. I was like in my head, I was, I'm going traveling. I'm watching this nice red brick buildings and stuff like that. So I think I went into a very down phase at that moment. And at that point, I subscribed to group therapy because that's what I could. I mean, I was new to the country, so I didn't really know what coaching was and stuff. So I subscribed to group therapy, which really helped, which really sort of made me understand that, you don't have to be defined by your mental health. You don't have to be defined by what's happening within you. If you had the right tools, you can sort of, instead of resolving it, you can manage and move forward. Like you resolve it, of course you need to resolve it, you need to go to therapy, but whatever is happening, you don't have to wait for it to resolve, you can continue moving forward. And that was a very unique sort of idea, because you think, there's a problem, you need to solve it, and then only you can sort of move. So I talked to the therapist, and she's the one who mentioned that this is group coaching, group therapy, she does both. And then I was reading another book. Unfortunately, I don't remember that book. And that's the word life coaching sort of popped in there. So both of this combined together, I was like, let me explore. Let me see what it is about. I mean, I want to help others as well. So let me see. So it was born out of the need to help, born out of my own needs, and specifically being an expat in a country where I didn't really know anyone. I thought, okay, let me just take the first step and see where it goes. I came to Animas. Animas is the only, what you call that training day I attended. Marcus was there. I
Oh,
remember.
amazing.
Yeah, I was bowled over. I was like, I'm signing in. I don't have the money. So I remember I talked to, I think Tracy was there at that point of time.
Yes.
Yeah, so I talked to Tracy. I like asked her, what's the best way to pay, this, that, and then I kind of literally like jumped in. It was a very, very instant decision. And I can tell you that's the best decision of my life, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So it was an in-person introductory day
Yeah.
with my
Oh,
aunt. Yeah, they were great. I remember those
yeah.
days. So it's interesting because you've experienced both therapy, and did you also get coaching from the therapist coach at that time, or?
Not during that time, but after, not from that lady, but when I started kind of looking at life coaching, and I did the training day. And that time I sort of, so I was very ready, to be honest, I was
Yes.
ready to jump in. But
Yes.
there was a voice of reason in with around me, because my partner was like, are you sure, you want to do this? You are a marketing grad. Research is your core
Yes.
subject. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let me at least get coached. And thankfully, I found a very good coach. He again was an ex-Animas student.
Mm.
He sort of supported me, and he gave me the taste of how transformation looks like. And a decision was already made, but it just strengthened the decision to join Animas.
Oh my goodness, that's actually really helpful to hear because most people tend to have that question. What would be the difference between going to therapy and going into coaching? Um, I'm actually curious. I mean, in your own words, how would you describe that? For you, and you knew that actually, okay, it is coaching that I want to go into versus therapy.
I think therapy is more, and I don't want to kind of give the general pedal dancer, but I feel that coaching helps you manage your situation a lot better. So if you definitely have the time to sort of work on yourself and really, really focus on your self growth, then you can go back and go to therapy. But I feel coaching helps you identify the things that you need to work on, if that makes sense. It is a very forward focused intervention, which helps you kind of talk through what's happening in your here and now, And often that's so useful because, when you are in the situation, right, something's happening with you, let's say as a client, and you are so tunnel vision at the moment because that's taking over all of your life. And then you come to coaching and the coach sits there, tell me more. Tell me more about it. What about this? What about that? So the coach helps recognize the pattern. And often that's enough for you to sort of manage the circumstances or even find a tool to solve the circumstances and move forward.
Mm.
And what's causing that challenge, or what's like behind, what's the deep rooted belief or thing that also coaching helps you identify. And then it's become actually easier for you to go to therapist if you want to then choose to go to therapy, to go to there and say that, what, this is what I'm facing. This is the
Mm.
belief I have. I have uncovered that this is how the belief got formed.
Mm.
Can you help me resolve that? Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Absolutely.
I'll give you my example. Like when I was coaching with Danny, the coach from Animas who helped me, he helped me identify that I had this very strong belief of not being good enough,
Mm.
which was at the helm of all my life decisions, all my, jumping forward and then holding myself back.
Mm.
And then that was instrument for me to then later go to therapy much later, once I was a coach, once I graduated. I also uncovered a lot more. So when you with Animus, when we do the course with Animus, we are also supposed to get coached ourselves, right? And when I got that as well, it helped me so much to identify parts of me that might need therapeutic intervention. So,
Mm.
long answer to your short question.
Mm.
That's what coaching and therapy is about. Coaching helps you, is a very, very present focused and forward facing intervention.
Yes.
And therapy is more, retro. You like go into your past and you try to resolve it.
Yes, that's it, exactly. That's so helpful because it also kind of illustrates that it's not so linear. You don't have to have therapy first before coaching, that it can happen together or coaching. So that's incredible. And I know you said that, it was pretty much a done decision after the day with Marcus that, yep, I'm gonna go ahead with coaching. But before that, did you have any any other doubts going into it? Any fears and maybe how you work through it? Did you have any concerns about going into coaching?
Um, Actually, no.
Wow,
I
okay.
know it was
Mhm.
very, very unusual, but I feel when I was in that training with Marcus, I felt something really speak to me. And mind you,
Mm.
it was I was coming from a place where I didn't really have supporting or safe space around me. I mean, I was with my child, I had my partner, but I didn't belong to the new country yet. Um, and it was very I was trying to like look for places where I can go, what can I do. Obviously going back to research was one option that I always had, but I didn't want to go back to research because what I later realized after getting coaching, after joining Animus, was that I was actually burnt out in my previous role.
I see.
So what happened was, I think when I was there in the moment with Marcus, I remember I asked him that, what makes you do this? And he said, I love doing what I do. I mean, this is where I belong. And that word sort of spoke to me so much, Addy. I can't tell you. I was like, yeah, you know what? This seems like something I can do. This seems like something that I belong. I mean, I can belong to. What also probably would have helped is because when I was in my different roles as in my corporate life, I used to be that person, who
Mm.
people would turn to, people would ask if someone was needed, like performance managed, or if someone was feeling a little bit, down or challenged. I was the one who was like pushed forward, Ritu, this person, go talk to him. Ritu, this person, go talk to her. So sort of helped that. So I felt, I can't explain in words, but I felt something very
Yeah.
aligned within me.
Mm.
So no, I didn't have the fear. I think the only fear probably I had was the monetary sort of commitment that I was about to make, considering, I was not working at that moment and it was a little difficult. But I was like, I gave myself a challenge saying, Ritu, go do your best. At the least, just earn back the amount you're investing and we'll call it quits. And that's all you need to do. That was the only motivational speech I gave to myself. And I did. I got it back. I got a lot more back. I have a career out of it. So I'm glad I didn't talk myself out of it at that point. But
That's incredible. Yeah, I know what you mean about the alignment. It sounds like there were so many clues already in your previous career, but this something clicked.
it was like the universe sort of conspired at that moment in form of Marcus. Maybe thank him from my end to
Yes.
get me here.
Yes, yes, exactly. Oh, and I want to go into the training now. How was it for you? Was it what you expected?
Oh,
What was it
much more,
like?
much, much more.
Great.
I stay in a small town, not small, actually, it's no longer small. It was a small then, called Reading outside London. So I am
Yeah.
one of the, I think, last cohort. 2019 is when I was studying with Animas, and I think I'm one of the last cohort that actually had face-to-face classes. So I would take train every Saturday morning. I was on the weekend batch, so takes train every Saturday morning, go there, and it was gorgeous. The place was beautiful. Um, so you're like perked up because you're put together as a cohort. You can meet people, you can form new relationships. Couple of my friends from Animals, we still talk to, like it's been what, 7 years. We still meet, we still talk to each other sometimes. And the training itself, like it was so beautifully structured. Um, it sort of spoke to you and allayed your fears even before you had them, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, your foundation, you're like, yeah, but we just, what do you mean now? You're already a coach. And then you reach, like, you learn about the competency model, and then you realize, okay, you're consciously incompetent at the moment. So there's a process to follow. Or cognition, when you're just about getting over your getting deep into the throes of your what do you call that, conscious incompetence, then you get cognition in the way. So you have some tools to do it. Okay, we can move forward with the tools. And then you have like, oh yeah, we have it down the tie, we have the tools, we know what to talk, we know what to ask. And then you're thrown with presence, which is like,
Yes.
don't do anything, just shut up and listen. What?
Yes.
I still remember I actually like had my head in my hands like this and I was sitting down. And I think Emily at that point of time was the trainer. So Emily kind of paused and asked, are you okay? What is happening? And like, but you're asking me to be quiet. I have so many questions. I have to coach. I have so many questions. And so then, like, presence, and when you actually go through that, you actually kind of push yourself to slow down, to time to think, and all the Nancy Klein, that book, right? And I still have goosebumps, see.
Yeah.
And then you realize that, okay, you know what, you can actually coach someone without really asking much. And that was so mind-blowing.
Mm.
And that's what I think kind of helped me, um, like sort of pave the way for my coaching, because I'm not a very tool-based coach as a thing. And my coaching is very, very deeply paved in presence and silences.
Mm.
And then you have, like, transaction and paradigm, like the two feathers in the bow. So you've like sort of, gotten them time and ripe for with questions. You've listened to them, and then the transformation starts with like transactions, with your ego states, and the drama triangle, and stuff like that. And I use it a lot in my coaching still. Like I still, this transaction analysis ego states and drama triangle from transaction analysis. And then we used to be called as paradigms. I don't know what it is, the final module. I don't know what it is now, I forget. But narrative coaching from there, clean language from there, perceptual positioning from there.
Yes.
I still use that a lot.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, again, a very long answer to your short question. It was amazing. I still remember coming back home and just sort of being mind blown every time, every module. I'm like, and also because your batchmates or your cohort mates are also going through the same transformation, right? It's not just that you're learning how to coach, you're also coaching yourself through it. Like you're transforming yourself through it. You're learning so much about your own things. And your cohort is such a supportive space. Like, I don't know how Animas does it. I even when I talk
Yes.
to mentees now who I mentor, they also say the same thing. I don't know how Animas does this, like one, magic thing where everybody is so supportive and so cohesively together. So it's never been, I've never had an instance where we've not gotten along well with, or we've had challenges or issues or anything. At the least, they're very polite and very kind. At the best, they are friends for life.
Yes, exactly. Oh, well, we are really lucky, I would say, in terms of who we attract. So yeah, completely similar experience with you and with presence as well. I think everyone has that like, what? I have to exhale and do nothing. So I really the design of the course, chef's kiss. It's
Yeah,
really good.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Totally agree.
I want to touch on the presence. I mean, it's like you said, it sounds so core to how you practice. What do you think about it makes it so impactful, powerful, for you as a way of working? I don't know if there are words to that for you.
Um, I think um I think what happened was that till present, I used to always consider myself a good listener. And I am. I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't. I was really a good listener. But I didn't really know empathy. I think till before that, I was listening to solution, probably, or listening to recommend, or listening to, I don't know, problem solve, or share myself, one of the four, or any other. So I would listen, but my response would always be something for them to take away or do or find. But for me, presence was when I actually realized what active listening was about. That at its core, the coach should cease to exist. Presence, when you're present with the client, you are the client. So you and the client are so aligned and so together that as a coach, you don't matter. You're the client and you're at the service of the client. And I think I understood that after, I mean, not just after the presence module, but that was the foundation of the pathway to understanding that. Yeah, that was amazing.
That was powerful. That you cease to exist as a
Yeah.
coach when you go into that. You become the client. I, yeah, because that's not something that you read off of a book, as well, isn't it? It's something that you experience.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Wow. Oh my goodness. And that started from module three, and then it kind of snowballed in terms of it deepened into your philosophy of work.
Because when you are actually listening and you are one with the client, that's when you start to notice things about them, right? Things beyond when what they're saying and communicating, right? The non-verbalness of it, the slight shift of their face, the slight edge to their voice, the slight movement of their body back and forth. And then you start to connect them from what's happening within the client. So that's when your transaction analysis comes into the place, right? That, okay, your ego states are at place. This is your critical parent talking, maybe, or this is your victim again coming back. So then you introduce that, but you have created that space only when you've stopped yourself from asking, only when you've let the client lead and get you to this stage. And then you just offer it as an observation, like, I'm noticing this. What are your thoughts? Then the client sort of shares, and then you start to slowly understand the narrative, the pattern, the story that they're telling yourself. And that's where your paradigms come, right? So because that's the story you need to change, that's the story you need to shift. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Oh, I just had a visual that when yeah, the presence kind of lifts and all you're left with are your paradigms. It almost like it illuminates it completely.
Absolutely. That's a
Yeah.
very good way to say it. Yes.
Yeah. Wow, that's incredible already. Well, to go to a practical question, actually, so during the training, people ask about clients. Do you remember how you first found your clients, practice ones? How did you manage them during the training? Did you find it difficult, etc.? Yeah, I'd love to.
I think first was stop was obviously your cohort. So we had swaps
Yes.
at that time with our cohort. Yeah, we didn't have a cohort of 3 at that time. We had, I think we were 4 of us, if I remember. Yeah, we were 4 of us. So we would each coach the other. So that's what I started with. Um, in my head, though, I really wanted to be a coach. I was very excited and very passionate for being a coach, right? So in my head, I didn't sort of restrict it as a 40-hour thing. So actually, when I submitted to Animas, I had done about 60, 65 hours already. Um, Swaps was one way. The second was we all got sort of cohesively decided that we will find one person in our lives that desperately need coaching. So someone had a brother, someone had spouse, someone had, so then we swapped those people as well. So that was one more swap. Um, and then I gently told my family members, I told my cohort members, somebody was kind enough to sort of post in Animas that group lounge we used to have. So I picked that up. And I also connected with a lot of other coaches on Facebook. I was not charging much at that time. I was actually not charging at all. The focus was to build that muscle, to build that skill. And I kept on kind of doing that till I was ready. Um, and then I started slowly, very mildly charging when I was closer to finishing my diploma. So I was like, whatever you can pay, even if it's a pound, just give me, because I was very clear even then that I wanted to go to ICF, ACC. I was very clear. I remember even in presence module, I think was when I sat Emily down and I'd asked her saying, tell me how do we get to ICF and what I need to do. But it's a slow process, Addy. I'll be honest. It was difficult. But there were a lot of postings that happened on the lounge earlier. I have not
Yes.
been into the lounge for a while, so I don't really know now. But I remember there were a lot of postings in the lounge, so I would pick them up. I would at least give them a discovery call. Like I would sort of say yes. I think that's the thing I told myself, that just say yes. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Coaching is like dating, honestly. If you have the
Yes.
chemistry, you have the chemistry. If you don't, you don't. But at least go on the date.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so yeah, that's what helped. But I would kind of encourage the new coaches to not stop, um, or not stop themselves because they're not getting paid clients. They keep doing something, 20-minute, 30-minute coaching to continue building their skills. Because I've noticed that the more confident I became in my coaching, the more quicker I started getting people to coach. That was there.
Definitely. Rip off the band-aid, just put yourself out there. There's no escaping that,
There's no escaping that.
really.
And word of mouth works. So if you can coach someone through something substantial, like even one client is what it takes. Like I remember one of, so that then we used to have cohorts in Germany as well. So
Yes.
some people from Germany had come, like I think they were missing a session or something. So they had come and she became a good friend. And then she had someone she knew. She recommended me that person. That person was in a bank. she was so happy that she recommended another friend, and she was so happy she recommended another friend. So I got like 4 or 5 clients through just one day of training and talking to someone. You don't have to say your niche. You don't have to do, be clear on what is it. I didn't have the niche for the longest time. Like expats that I've come up with, it has happened last year. It's 6 years
Oh
now.
wow, that's incredible.
I
Yes.
was very niche averse till then. I was like, I'm transformational life coach. I coach everyone. So you don't have to. You don't. If you, it helps in your sort of streamlining your offerings. If it helps, but don't stop yourself because you don't have a niche. Go ahead, talk to people, tell them that what coaching is. Tell them what brought you to coaching, and I'm sure something or the other will click.
That's incredible. This is another example that it's not, that's not the only way of finding clients, because I know there's a lot of I suppose preaching out there that niche is super, super important. But in this case, it sounds like it's how you connect with as many people as possible and getting to experience it. And yeah, I mean, so I'm now curious post qualification. So now it was finished. Do you remember what it was like to not have that structure anymore of the course? I mean, did you go straight away into building a practice just completely independently, or did you have something else on the side? What did that look like for you?
I was unfact. Actually, it was difficult because I was also writing at that point of time when I was coaching. So I am a fiction writer myself. So 2019 was amazing for me. My coaching diploma was done. I was a writer, and my book was released, and it was like massive, massive, amazing time. And then March 2020, COVID.
Yes.
So I had full plans of, walking and coaching, like, going for nature walks and coaching people of it and creating a practice, hiring a space, all of that. And then COVID hit. So I was like forced to almost move everything online. And because I couldn't meet people, I couldn't communicate that with them, what I do, what is it I do.
Yeah.
So it was difficult. It was really difficult. And to be honest, by 2021, I was almost ready to give up. I was almost ready to say that, it's not gonna get back. It's not gonna get back my earnings, and I'm better find another job. But I was working with another coach at that point of time. She is an MCC coach. She's also a board member of ICF, Gauri. So so I was like, okay, let me at least get my ACC out of the way, because if ACC is there, then companies might hire me as a coach. So she was my mentor for ACC, and then I took some coaching from her. So she was like, for an established coach, it takes anything between 3 to 5 years to have a proper setup of practice. And you need to have some sort of a reserve along with your coaching. For me, I was lucky that I had a partner who can support me through. So I focused on coaching altogether. I have few of my colleagues, my cohort mates, who dropped down to, like, from 5 days a week, they dropped down to 3 days a week, and 2 days they sort of supported in building a practice. I got a lot of income from associate coaching. I still get, like, a large part of my income comes from associate coaching. I was lucky to sort of end up in companies like Unmind. Unmind was originally, I used to work with Frankie. There was just two Irish coaches who'd gotten together, very small company. They reached out through LinkedIn. Um, and Lira was someone from Animas only who used to work with them, and they suggested, and they're very Animas friendly, because a lot of inter sort of conversations are going on. There's Eric at Lira, who's very good friends with Yannick at Animas, and a lot of conversations, cross understanding. So Animas name speaks in coaching world. I've noticed that a lot of times I've been quoted Nick. Like, do you know Nick Bolton from Animus has said this? And I'm like, yeah, I know, I've heard it personally.
Yes.
So it's a good name, but it is a slow process, to be honest. So you need a lot of patience, and you need to remember why you are in coaching. That you always go back to basics in those dark
Yes.
moments. Why you're coaching, what has brought you to coaching. And I've also seen success stories where, people are actually earning, more than they were earning in their regular jobs, but it takes time.
Yeah, completely. And you had support, it sounds like, as well with a coach. I know are you okay to speak a little bit longer for
Yeah, yeah,
maybe 5-10 minutes? Is that okay? Because
absolutely.
well, that's great. Thank you. Because I wanted to, there were a few more things that I wanted to ask, especially in the associate coaching space. It sounds like it was organic connections that helped you around that. But in terms of people now, what would you say? Yeah, what are your tips basically if someone wants to become an associate coach? What do they need? Yeah, those things.
I think qualifications. So, which is good thing is that Animas is doing the level 2 certification already. Unlike when we were students, we had to sort of separately go and do it. So get those certifications out of the way. I think that's most important. It just gives you a more rigorous approach to coaching. Certification on its own, I don't really think matters. Companies depend on what a good coach you are. But for example, at Lira, I have another friend who's from Animus again. She was at a 21-20 batch. She's not an ICF coach, but because she was already coaching before she joined Animus and she was in the social work, social health space, that sort of helped her. So I think as much coaching as you can, as much hours you can build, and you have most of the postings in LinkedIn. A lot of times at Lira, we kind of are asked to refer, so you can do that. I did coach with a lot of charities. That's also how I worked my network. I coached with Age UK. I coached with Yes Futures. They weren't paid opportunities, but they really, really taught me immensely about, how to support genuine people in need, like people who are, in fact, that was my foray into mental health for the first time, because when you're coaching children, you don't get decent answers, you don't get straight up answers, right? You have to, um, and then how do you balance not being directive but being supportive, and all of that? So that dance that we call as mentors, right? The dancing with your client, that was truly visible when I was coaching with children. Uh, so that helps. However, market is really, really down at the moment. So I would also mention that, Adi. I know that, people are sort of staying put. There's a lot of redundancy, not in the coaching world, but there are a lot of redundancies. So everybody is sort of slow, but it happens. It will happen. So
Mhm.
again, patience, I think, going back to the word patience, and keep your practice for both of the things, and it will eventually work out.
Yeah. Also, this is highlighting that, like you said, certification is pretty much just the first step. I mean, like what you've done is just made sure that you've built your connections and continued to coach. I think that really is to the peaks and troughs
Yeah,
up
yeah.
until now. Yeah.
That is very important. You have to keep your coaching true, because the moment your coaching starts to dwindle, and I've noticed this about myself, the moment I don't coach much, like I am also a mentor now, right? Sometimes it so happens that, I mentor and I don't focus on my coaching, or I've forgotten to open up myself or my client list. Uh, After 2.5 months, I feel, oh, how do I do this? How do I do that? So I feel it's, and the coaching is so beautiful, because the more you coach, the more you learn. And the more you coach in different, like for example, level 1 was different, level 2 is different. Like, I have a lot of coaches who come to me and say, we have to be ICF structured and things like that. Actually, no. Your ICF structure is supposed to be supportive of your coaching, but that can only happen if you know what your coaching is about. If you really are comfortable with the unknownness of coaching, the true not knowing anything about the client and coaching them, the transformational element of coaching. And that can only happen if you practice.
Yeah. Only from experience
Yeah.
you get the clarity. Well, now that you've touched on the mentoring, maybe this could be like a almost, the last questions to end the interview, because you mentor a lot. Anything else that you haven't shared with us in terms of advice for new coaches, or maybe newly qualified coaches, that you'd like to share, that you keep saying it's just tale as old as time?
Yeah. I think the only advice for them is find your own voice. Most of the time, what happens is that because you let yourself so imprisoned by the structure, by the competencies and stuff, that you ask questions which are not authentic to you as a coach. And it's okay to, and I probably will be screamed at for this, but it's okay to ask one or two compound questions, or one or two clear, close questions, for example, or leading questions, as long as they're one or two. But what's not okay is when you choose not to dance with the client, when you're so imprisoned by the structure that you don't really see where the client wants to lead you, but you're not really listening, because in your head you're going, oh, I have to ask, I've ticked off competency 3 now, I've ticked off competency 4 now. I think that's where we need to sort of hold the structure a little lightly. I'm going to mention one more mentor who was my mentor when I was a student, Ken. He still is mentor with Animas. So Ken used to always tell me, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you cannot learn coaching, like it's not a switch that you going through your modules and now you're a coach. It is kind of, the knowledge is like that, but to actually truly imbibe the knowledge, you need to sort of find your own voice, find your own authentic voice, and play with it. Like, play with your competency, play with your questions, see what lands. So you have to be flexible in the moment. You can't be just like, this is the structure, this is my language, I'm going to coach. So I don't know if it makes sense, but yeah, that's very, very useful. Like, truly make it your own. Create a structure that would support your voice rather than somebody else's.
How because I was going to ask, how do you find like your own voice? Do you have do you think it's there's a process to it? Finding your voice as a coach, or
I think you learn, right? So let's say when you coach and when you sort of start to coach frequently, you then start to notice patterns amongst the clients, and patterns the client probably is not aware of themselves. I think Nick talks about it called as Johari window, where a part of it is at the blind spot of clients, right? And then you ask them questions which would help them understand that blind spot. Um, and that's where you find your language, because you can ask them, so tell me more about this blind spot. And the client would be like, what? Because he doesn't know what blind spot is about. I'm noticing you talk about this, but I'm noticing every time we kind of start to get into it, you've moved away. I'm wondering what's happening there. That's a different way of asking a question. So a lot of times what happens is, because we're so, we make a list of questions and we're so tied to those questions that we don't really customize it for the client. So probably that's the word, you need to find a voice that can help you hold that question lightly and customize it for the client, rather than um, be rigid with your questions. I don't know if that makes sense.
definitely does. It sounds like it's a maturity in coaching as well. So you've learned the concepts, but there's still you underneath. And you're still the essence where your coaching is coming from.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like you are the one who's helping them. You're the one who's supporting, who's being useful to them. So trust yourself. Like we say, clients are creative, resourceful, and whole, but coaches are creative, resourceful, and whole as well, right? So trust that creativity, trust that resourcefulness, trust that wholeness is what I think the best way to describe that.
Oh, Ritu, this has been amazing. So many golden nuggets and inspiration, and I've really enjoyed hearing your experience and yeah, guidance really. So is there anything else that you want to end on that we haven't shared, or yeah, what does it
Um, no, I think I just wanted to thank Animus for giving me a job.
yes.
That was really, really useful. And also for giving me a community, right? I mean, belonging is something that's, I think, one of my core values, and I didn't realize that that value was so much at conflict when I moved. And I think Animus has been extremely supportive as a community, and I've had most of my friends from there. Most of my whole network in UK is Animus, and it's given me that sort of, the ability to raise my head high and walk around like I belong to this place. So yes, I just wanted to thank everybody on the team to support
Yeah.
that they have given me.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, again, we really appreciate it. Thank you to Animas. It really has opened so many doors for us and for other people, hopefully in the future as well. So
Absolutely.
okay, well, yeah, thank you, Ritu. We'll say goodbye for now. I hope everyone enjoys this interview. And if you want to connect with Ritu, where is the best place, I suppose, to, yeah.
LinkedIn, I think. LinkedIn is so with Rituparna Ghosh is my thing. So that's my website also, with rituparnaghosh.com. Or if you look at with Rituparna Ghosh in LinkedIn, you can find me there. I used to be on Instagram, but I'm fighting an ethical battle within myself, that should I be or should I not be. So LinkedIn is the best place, or write to me, or reach out to Animus. They have my contact details.
Yes, yes, absolutely. We'll definitely put that in the description on this video. All right. Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you, Ritu. Take
Thank
care
you,
for now.
Adi. Lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for being such a gracious host.